Newsfeed Now. Coronavirus facts, not fear, begins now.
It is finally Friday, and we have made it, folks. Good morning. Thanks for joining us for Newsfeed Now. I am Aaron Nolan, jumping straight into the latest coronavirus numbers across the United States of America. Here's that map. In the U.S., 869,000 cases, 50,000 deaths. New York State alone, more than 250,000 cases. As you can tell, every state now except for two, in that darker red shade. I believe Alaska is not in that darker shade. Interesting numbers, though, really across the country as we hope to get to the flattening stage of this pandemic. We've talked about the virus in Tyson Foods. Now that company has shut down a meat plant in Washington after health officials say more than 100 plant workers tested positive, and the daughter of one of the workers says her father died from the virus. Officials will work with the company to test more than 1,400 workers. United Airlines requiring flight attendants to wear face masks starting Friday. It will begin, that's today, it'll begin with 20 masks on board each aircraft serving domestic routes and on 40 international routes. Health officials, including the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, say a second wave of the coronavirus could be coming. But apparently the first one was actually infecting people earlier than previously thought. John Lawrence reports.
COVID-19 entered the U.S. weeks earlier than thought, in early or mid-January, says research from the Network Science Institute at Northeastern University in Boston. The virus went undetected for weeks.
That was February, so flu season. People doesn't have severe symptoms. Many of the people do not have severe symptoms, and the disease spread under the radar.
One of the places it was spreading, Santa Clara County, California.
Is not that surprising, given that we're a very large county, very demographically diverse, and there's a lot of travel to every corner of the world, including Asia.
Tissue analysis shows 57-year-old Patricia Dowd died of COVID-19 on February 6th. She's now believed to be the first COVID-related fatality in the U.S. Officials previously thought the first such death happened in Washington state on February 29th. That was until a posthumous test was performed on Dowd.
This whole testing issue has been mismanaged from the very beginning, and if we weren't identifying these cases, they were going basically out into the community, able to spread this virus to other individuals.
The FDA says the U.S. now has enough tests to meet guidelines for the first phase of reopening parts of the country.
But we do acknowledge the fact that we need to keep the pressure on developing more tests and getting more tests out there.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thanks. About a third of the world's population is now under coronavirus movement restrictions, and a key model has made a big tweak to its predictions. Nadia Romero has the latest.
The bill is passed.
A $480 billion aid package overwhelmingly passing through the House to help small businesses, hospitals, and expand coronavirus testing.
Today was an historic day for us to once again pass our now fourth bipartisan legislation to address the coronavirus crisis.
The president says he plans to sign it.
At a time when many Americans are enduring significant economic challenges, this bill will help small businesses to keep millions of workers on the payroll.
This as a key coronavirus model cited by the White House has made a big tweak to its projections, now projecting states like Georgia, which is reopening some non-essential businesses Friday, shouldn't even start to safely reopen until at least June 22nd. Top health experts say the key to reopening is testing, and we're just not there yet.
I am not overly confident right now at all that we have what it takes to do that. We're getting better and better at it as the weeks go by, but we are not in a situation where we say we're exactly where we want to be with regard to testing.
President Trump saying he might extend social distancing guidelines past May 1st.
Until we feel it's safe, we're going to be extending.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero reporting.
Nadia, thanks. Let's go live now to Washington, D.C. Jesse Tenor joins us. Jesse, a lot of hope, probably 4 to 5 days ago, that reopening was going to happen. It seems now that medical experts kind of think we may not be ready for that. Is that the indication there from Washington and the White House?
Yeah, that they're kind of really, again, leaving it really up to the governors, but that's kind of what's been indicated so far. Some states, though, that you have seen start to reopen, haven't seen as many cases, haven't seen as much widespread spread of the coronavirus. And so I think that's why you're seeing those kind of responses, whereas you see others still kind of pushing back, now even talking potentially to June before they would start to reopen.
All right, trending right now on Twitter, it's a very interesting couple of hashtags. Lysol, disinfectant, both trending. Very carefully, I would like for you to describe the reasons why here, as everyone needs to understand that we are, we don't choose a party in this. We do not let our political feelings know. Why is Lysol and disinfectant trending right now?
That started because during yesterday's coronavirus press briefing at the White House, President Trump used the word disinfectant and alluded to that Americans could potentially use disinfectants to treat the coronavirus. Medical experts, even the Surgeon General, the nation's doctor, and even those companies have since come out and said, please do not use these to ingest them yourselves to try to treat the coronavirus. The White House even came out this morning. The new press secretary said that the media twisted the president's words when it came to what he was trying to say, but we did get the official transcript from the White House as well, where the president did use the word disinfectant and alluded to what I said earlier. There's also a video going around of Dr. Birx, her reaction. There's always kind of two cameras on the press briefing, and her reaction seemed to indicate that she. And so we will be hearing a lot more from the president today at today's briefing about exactly what he meant.
Jesse Tenura, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time out of Washington, D.C. The crisis is creating the need for something most of us never want to think about: caskets. Let's go to South Louisiana with Bill Wood.
The woodwork goes on.
Simple. It's a statement.
It's a statement no kind of crisis could stop. In the history of the world, of life and death, your job right now is making caskets.
A lot of people want one of these caskets, and we have to make sure we can get it to them.
While they work, Deacon Mark Coudrain and his crew of mostly volunteers pray. Pray for the people who will one day be in their caskets. Made at a Louisiana monastery, St. Joseph Abbey, about an hour north of New Orleans, near Covington. Monks first made caskets here more than 125 years ago.
Simple is better. And it just keeps the whole mystery of death on a very simple level.
The wood is cypress. The price, around $2,000.
And we're all trying to do the same thing, making caskets in a very unusual time.
A way to celebrate life at the end of the journey.
All right, let's bring in Bill Wood now. Bill, all right, so you're actually there. You're actually at this casket joint.
I am. I'm at this monastery about an hour north of New Orleans, St. Joseph Abbey, where mainly volunteers make the caskets now. The monks started making caskets like these for themselves about 125 years ago, and then people started asking them if they could make them for them. And now they do, and they ship them across the country: New York, New Jersey, Florida, California. Whoever wants one of these simple, dignified, I think beautiful statements can get one.
Has there been an uptick in business, Bill?
Unfortunately, there has. They used to make about one of these every day, and now with the coronavirus pandemic, they are making and shipping out about a dozen a week. They're getting calls from people, some reservations for these caskets, because they know inevitably somebody will need one. Somebody in their family, or either they themselves, will need one of these.
For those folks who order one of these, do they understand where it's made and maybe the spiritual significance behind someone praying over a casket before you have to use said casket?
You know, I think they absolutely do. And when they order it, they know that as you said, which is what Deacon Mark said, they actually pray. As they're making these, they pray for the people who will one day be in these caskets. So it is a spiritual manufacturing process. So when people get them, they know that they haven't been just churned out of a factory and shipped cold. And by the way, not only can you buy one of these caskets, I think you saw at the end of my piece the beautiful cemetery. Those cemetery plots are also available here at St. Joseph Abbey. So you can get one of these caskets. You can lie in rest at the same place where your casket was made, with love.
Very interesting stuff. Bill Wood, thank you so much. Bill, out of near New Orleans, about an hour north, he said. Bill, thanks. Decisions about beaches along the Gulf Coast are being made right now. A Florida attorney has gone viral after saying he'll travel around the state dressed as the Grim Reaper to protest beaches opening up too soon. Here's Sherish Lombard.
This is not a wise thing to do right now. I would love to go to the beach myself. You know, there's nothing I enjoy more than going to the beach, but in this situation, I think it's going to create a problem with drawing people to our area prematurely.
Daniel Ufelder tells me there's no one who supports our beaches more than he does, but right now they need to remain closed because when they open back up, people from all around the U.S. will flock this way.
But in this pandemic, we've been working to try to do the right thing and not rush to have people come to Florida and have this virus spread. My concern is that it'll be that the progress that we've made could possibly quickly be diminished.
So yesterday, he started this Twitter campaign with his plan to visit beaches and other places in Florida he feels should remain closed for now, dressed as the Grim Reaper.
The symbol of a Grim Reaper is, it's a reality check as to, what we're dealing with here. And I understand the pressure to do this. I mean, it's a big part of our economy, but I mean, this virus is deadly and it's very contagious. And I think we need to be, thinking through this.
Ufelder says medical experts he's spoken with in the Santa Rosa area say beaches being closed has definitely helped flatten the curve of COVID-19 cases. He tells me he doesn't have the answer as to when beaches should reopen. He believes time will tell.
Medical providers, doctors, they're the ones who are on the front line, who know what could happen if we overflood our system. And from what my communications with them is that it's too soon at this point. I mean,
Sherish, thank you so much. Interesting stuff. I sure hope we're going to follow this one on next week to see if this attorney actually follows through with dressing like this on the beach. Let's go to Tennessee. When you think of Nashville, you immediately think of the live music, but the streets and bars are shut down, and many musicians had to come up with new ways to connect their fans. Here's Haley Wilgus.
It's an iconic experience that attracts millions of visitors to Nashville. Live music emanating from honky-tonks day and night.
Acme Feed and Seed, Cerveza Jacks, Doc Holidays, Hard Rock Cafe, Whiskey Row, Bar Lines.
If you frequent Broadway, there's a good chance you've seen Carl Wachner perform his unique style of acoustic organic pop.
I'm a bad guy.
That abruptly changed March 16th when bars were shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I'll be playing every single day, sometimes a couple of times a day. So for every month that goes by, I lose about 30 shows. And then 100% of our income goes along with it.
Wachner is on a visa from Australia, which means his wife can't work and they have 2 kids to support.
A single income, family of 4, relying on shows that don't exist right now. We have a mortgage and, a couple of cars and overheads like everyone else.
The Wachners were able to pause their mortgage payments and cut out all unnecessary expenses. He's been doing live concerts on his Facebook and Instagram pages. He says fans have been graciously sending virtual tips.
We've been able to make enough, just enough to cover our groceries, our utilities, our phone bills, and insurance. In a very positive light too, I've been able to make some lifelong fans and friends out of this, for people that have just been so generous in that throwing us $100 or out of nowhere, which is just brings you to tears almost, you know.
Most of us just want to play. So we're like, all right, get it. We're geared up. You know, we got our guitar, we got our instrument, you know, hit the button. Let's do this.
Nashville musician Justin Johnson has also been playing live shows online.
The response that I've gotten was, it was like we were just hanging out with you guys at your place and you were just playing us some music.
Johnson would normally be playing up to 3 gigs, 12 hours a day on Broadway. He says most bars pay a base salary, plus musicians rack up tips. Streaming shows aren't nearly as lucrative, but Johnson sees a positive.
I believe that this will sort of help people if they were kind of stuck in a Broadway rut where they were only playing covers and they wanted to have some sort of original material and they wanted to get out there with it. This is, you've got a captive audience, and you can broadcast and you can do whatever you want to, and you can interact with the people in a different way.
Johnson and Walkner agree it might be a slow start, but Broadway will bounce back.
I'm sure people are thinking, after this quarantine, I'm going to Nashville and I'm going to stay for a week and I'm going to go to every bar and I'm going to drink all the beer, you know.
Nashville being Nashville, I have like every faith in the world that it's gonna, I feel like it's gonna get into first and second gear, and then out of nowhere, it's just gonna cram into third and pedal to the metal.
In Nashville, Haley Wilgus, News 2.
Fascinating stuff there from Haley. Josh Breslow joins us now. Josh, I was on Broadway, I guess it was about a year and a half ago. Had the chance to take in a really good concert over at the Wild Horse. I can't even imagine what it's like now, but I love this idea that Haley was able to take and look at this from not the big time performers, not the performers who have their name on bars on Broadway, but the performers who do this to make ends meet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who live here in Nashville. Of course, you hear about people like Dierks Bentley and Jason Aldean who have those bars over on Broadway. They have so much money that they're able to get their own bars and purchase those. But yeah, you're talking about those musicians who moved here with a dream and are just trying to make their money that way. So to see them struggling is really hard, because that is their livelihood right there, that over the last month or so, they haven't been able to do their job, so they have to find a way to do it.
When's the thought process on when music there on Broadway in Nashville will return? Because everybody thinks about music capitals of the world, and Nashville is one of those places.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville is the music city here, but unfortunately at this point, they're trying to figure out exactly when those bars will be able to reopen with people inside playing live music. They are talking about having restaurants open maybe in the next, week or so. But yeah, as far as when music can return, that's just something we're gonna have to wait and see, because there's so many unknowns based on the numbers that just keep kind of coming in on a daily basis. And that data and science, we're told, will actually drive when those can reopen.
I got to think, especially for the first artist that Haley was able to speak with that's on a green card from Australia, that, this is no doubt livelihood situation.
Yeah, I mean, these are people who, like I said, they came here with a dream, and they just, knew that they had to put forth that effort in order to make it, and they loved music so much, and that's what they wanted to do. So you imagine you pick up your life, move over here from another country, and can't even afford to do your job. So you do have to, find another way to do it and to make that money to continue your dream once everything does start to reopen.
All right, Josh, thanks so much. I think about some friends who I have living in Nashville that are trying that music scene right now. So it's tough. It's tough to think about. Josh, appreciate it. All right, that's our show. Thanks for joining us. We will see you right back here on a Monday morning. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. If you need to grill a steak, go get a steak and grill it. If you need a beer, go have a beer. It's all right. We're going to make it through it. We're going to make it through it together. Have a good weekend. See you Monday.